April 12th, 1 Kings 1 and 2. 1 Kings 1. And sovereign David was old, advanced in years, and they covered him with garments, but he could not get warm. So a servant said to him, Let them seek out for our master, the sovereign, a young woman, a maiden, so that she can stand before the sovereign and be his companion, and shall lie in your bosom, so that our master, the sovereign, gets warm. So they sought for a beautiful young woman in all the border of Israel, and found Abishag the Shunammite, and brought her to the sovereign. And the young woman was very beautiful, and she was a companion for the sovereign, and served him. But the sovereign did not know her. And Adoniah, son of Agath, exalted himself, saying, I reign. And he prepared for himself a chariot and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. Now his father had not worried him at any time by saying, Why have you done so? He is also very good looking, and he was born after Absalom. And he talked with Joab, son of Zeruiah, and Abiathar the priest, and they supported Adoniah. But Zadok the priest, and Benaiah, son of Yehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei, and Rei, and the mighty men who belonged to David, were not with Adoniah. And Adoniah slaughtered sheep and cattle and fatlings by the stone of Zoheleth, which is by Enrogel. And he also invited all his brothers, the sovereign's sons, and all the men of Judah, servants of the sovereign. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet, or Benaiah, or the mighty men, or Shilomo, his brother. Nathan then spoke to Bathsheba, the mother of Shilomo, saying, Have you not heard that Adoniah, son of Agieth, has become sovereign, and David our master does not know it? And now, come, let me give you advice, and deliver your own life and the life of your son, Shilomo. Go immediately to sovereign David, and say to him, Did you not, my master, O sovereign, swear to your female servant, saying, Certainly your son Shilomo shall reign after me, and he shall, I think it's Solomon, and he shall sit on my throne? Why then has Adoniah become sovereign? Look, while you are speaking there with the sovereign, let me come in after you and confirm your words. And Bathsheba went into the room to the sovereign. Now the sovereign was very old, and Abishag, the Shunammite, was serving the sovereign. And Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance to the sovereign. And the sovereign said, What do you wish? And she said to him, My master, you swore by Yah your Elohim to your female servant, saying, Certainly Shilomo, that is Solomon, so I'll say Solomon, certainly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. And now look, Adoniah has become sovereign, and now my master the sovereign, you do not know about it. And he has slaughtered great number of bulls and fatlings and sheep, and has invited all the sons of the sovereign, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the commander of the army, but he did not invite Solomon your servant. And you, my master, O sovereign, the eyes of all Israel are on you, to declare to them who is going to sit on the throne, and my master the sovereign after him. Otherwise it shall be, when my master the sovereign rests with his fathers, that I and my son Solomon shall be considered sinners. And see, while she was still speaking with the sovereign, Nathan the prophet also came in. And they informed the sovereign, saying, Here is Nathan the prophet. And when he came in before the sovereign, he bowed down before the sovereign with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, My master, O sovereign, have you said, Adoniyahu shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? For he has gone down today, and has slaughtered great number of bulls and fatlings and sheep, and has invited all the sovereign's sons and the commanders of the armies, and Abiathar the priest. And look, they are eating and drinking before him. And they say, Let sovereign Adoniyahu live. But he has not invited me, your servant, or Tzadok the priest, or Beniyahu, son of Yehoiada, nor your servant Solomon. If this matter is from my master the sovereign, then you did not let your servant know who should sit on the throne of my master the sovereign after him. And sovereign David answered and said, Call Bathsheba to me. So she came into the sovereign's presence and stood before the sovereign. And the sovereign took an oath and said, As Yah lives, who has ransomed my life out of all distress, even as I swore to you by Yah Elohim of Israel, saying, Certainly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Even so I do this day. And Bathsheba bowed with her face to the earth, and did obeisance to the sovereign, and said, Let my master sovereign David live forever. And sovereign David said, Call me Tzadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Beniyahu son of Yehoiada. And they came before the sovereign. And the sovereign said to them, Take with you the servants of your master, and you shall have Solomon my son ride on my own mule, and take him down to Gihon. And there Tzadok the priest and Nathan the prophet shall anoint him as sovereign over Israel, and blow the shofar and say, Let sovereign Solomon live. And you shall come up after him, and he shall come and sit on my throne, and he shall reign in my place. For I have commanded him to rule over Israel and over Judah. And Beniyahu son of Yehoiada answered the sovereign, said, Amen, so says Yah Elohim of my master the sovereign. As Yah has been with my master the sovereign, so let him be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my master sovereign David. Then Tzadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Beniyahu son of Yehoiada, and the Kiriathites and the Pelethites went down and had Solomon ride on sovereign David's mule, and took him to Gihon. And Tzadok the priest took a horn of oil from the tent, and anointed Solomon, and they blew with the shofar. And the people said, Let sovereign Solomon live. And all of the people came up after him. And the people played the flutes, and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth was split by their noise. And Adoniyahu and all the priests who were with him heard it. And as they had finished eating, and Joab heard the voice of the shofar, and said, Why is the city in such a noisy uproar? And he was still speaking. Then see, Jonathan came, son of Abiathar the priest. And Adoniyahu said to him, Come in, for you are a brave man, and you bring good news. But Jonathan answered and said to Adoniyahu, No, our master sovereign David has made Solomon sovereign. And the sovereign has sent with him Tzadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Beniyahu son of Yehoiada, and the Kiriathites and the Pelethites, and they had him ride on the sovereign's mule. And Tzadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him sovereign at Gihon, and they have gone up from there rejoicing, and the city is moved. This is the noise you heard. And further, Solomon sits on the throne of the reign. And further, the servants of the sovereign have gone to bless our master sovereign David, saying, Let your Elohim make the name of Solomon better than your name, and his throne greater than your throne. And the sovereign bowed himself on the bed. And the sovereign also said thus, Blessed be Yah Elohim of Israel, who has given one to sit on my throne this day, while my eyes see it. And all the guests who were invited by Adoniyahu were afraid and rose. and each one went his way. And Adoniah was afraid of Solomon, and rose, and went and took hold of the horns of the slaughter place. And it was reported to Solomon, saying, Look, Adoniah is afraid of sovereign Solomon, and look, he has taken hold of the horns of the slaughter place, saying, Let sovereign Solomon swear to me today that he does not put his servant to death with the sword. And Solomon said, If he proves himself a worthy man, not one hair of him is going to fall to the earth. But if evil is found in him, then he shall die. And sovereign Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the slaughter place. And he came and fell down before sovereign Solomon. And Solomon said to him, Go to your house. 1 Kings 2. And the days of David drew near to die. And he commanded Solomon his son, saying, I am going the way of all the earth, and you shall be strong and be a man, and guard the charge of Yah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, to guard his laws, his commands, his right rulings, and his witness, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe, so that you do wisely all that you do, and wherever you turn, so that Yah does establish his word, which he spoke concerning me, saying, If your sons guard their way, to walk before me in truth, with all their heart and with all their being, saying, There is not to cease a man of yours on the throne of Israel. And also, you know that what Joab son of Zeruiah did to me, and that he did to the two commanders of the armies of Israel, to Abner son of Ner, and Amasa son of Jether, that he killed them, and shed the blood of battle in peace, and put the blood of battle on his belt that was around his waist, and on his sandals that were on his feet. So act according to your wisdom, and do not let his gray hair go down to Sheol in peace. But show loving commitment to the sons of Barzillai the Gladite, and let them be among those who eat at your table. For so they came to me when I fled from Absalom your brother. And see, with you is Shimei son of Gera, the Benjamite, from Baharem, who cursed me with a grievous cursing in the day when I went to Manayaim. But he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swore to him by Yah, saying, I do not put you to death with the sword. And now do not leave him unpunished, for you are a wise man, and you know what you should do to him, and shall bring his gray hair down to Sheol with blood. And David slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David. And the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. He reigned 7 years in Hebron, and in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. And Solomon sat on the throne of his father David, and his reign was firmly established. And Adoniah, son of Haggath, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, and she said, Do you come in peace? And he said, Peace. And he said, I have a word for you. And she said, Speak. And he said, You know that the reign was mine, and all Israel had set their faces towards me, that I should reign. But the reign has been turned around, and has become my brother's, for it was his from Yah. And now I am making one request of you. Do not refuse me. And she said to him, Say it. And he said, Please speak to sovereign Solomon, for he would not refuse you, to give me Abishag the Shunammite as wife. And Bathsheba said, Good, let me speak for you to the sovereign. And Bathsheba came to sovereign Solomon to speak to him for Adoniah. And the sovereign rose up to meet her, and bowed down to her, and sat down on his throne, and had a throne set for the sovereign's mother. So she sat at his right hand. And she said, I am making one small request of you. Do not refuse me. And the sovereign said to her, Ask it, my mother, for I do not refuse you. And she said, Let Abishag the Sunamite be given to Adoniah your brother as wife. And sovereign Solomon answered and said to his mother, Now, why do you ask Abishag the Sunamite for Adoniah? Ask for him the reign also, for he is my older brother. For him and Abiathar the priest, and for Joab, son of Zeruiah. And sovereign Solomon swore by Yah, saying, Elohim does so to me, and more also, if Adonai has not spoken this word against his own life. And now, as Yah lives, who established me and set me on the throne of David my father, and who has made me a house as he promised, Adonai shall be put to death today. And sovereign Solomon sent by the hand of Benaiah, son of Yehoiada, and he fell upon him, and he died. Then the sovereign said to Abiathar the priest, Go to Anathoth, to your own fields, for you deserve death. But I do not put you to death at this time, because you did bear the ark of the Master Yah before my father David, and because you were afflicted in all that my father was afflicted in. And Solomon dismissed Abiathar from being priest to Yah, to fulfill the word of Yah which he spoke concerning the house of Eli at Shiloh. And news came to Joab, for Joab had turned aside after Adonijah, though he did not turn aside after Absalom. And Joab fled to the tent of Yah, and took hold of the horns of the slaughter place. And the report came to sovereign Solomon that Joab had fled to the tent of Yah, and see, he is by the slaughter place. Then Solomon sent Benaiah, son of Yehoiada, saying, Go, fall on him. So Benaiah came to the tent of Yah and said to him, Thus says the sovereign, Come out. And he said, No, for here I die. And Benaiah brought back word to the sovereign, saying, Thus said to Joab, and thus he answered me. And the sovereign said to him, Do as he has said, and fall upon him, and you shall bury him, so that you take away from me and from the house of my father the blood which Joab shed without cause. Thus Yah shall return his blood on his head, because he had fallen on 2 men, more righteous and better than he, and killed them with the sword, while my father David did not know it, Abner son of Ner, commander of the army of Israel, and Amasa son of Jether, commander of the army of Judah. So shall their blood return upon the head of Joab, and upon the head of his seed forever. But upon David and his seed, upon his house and his throne, there is to be peace forever from Yah. Then Benaiah, son of Yehoiada, went up and fell upon him and put him to death, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. And the sovereign put Benaiah, son of Yehoiada, in his place over the army. And the sovereign put Zadok, the priest, in the place of Abiathar. And the sovereign sent and called for Shimei, and said to him, Build yourself a house in Jerusalem, and dwell there, and do not go out from there anywhere. And it shall be on the day that you go out and pass over the Wadi Kidron, know for certain that you shall die. Your blood is on your own head. And Shimei said to the sovereign, The word is good. As my master the sovereign has said, so your servant does. So Shimei dwelt in Jerusalem many days. And it came to be, at the end of 3 years, that 2 slaves of Shimei fled to Achish, son of Maacah, sovereign of Gath. And they informed Shimei, saying, See, your slaves are in Gath. And Shimei rose up and saddled his donkey, and went to Achish at Gath to look for his slaves. And Shimei went and brought his slaves from Gath. And Solomon was told that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath, and had come back. So the sovereign sent and called for Shimei, and said, Did I not make you swear by Yah, and warn you, saying, Know for certain, on the day that you leave to go anywhere, you shall certainly die? And you said to me, The word I have heard is good. Why have you not guarded the oath of Yah, and the command I gave you? The sovereign also said to Shimei, You shall know all the evil that is in your You shall know that the evil that is in your heart has known, that you did to my father David, and Yah shall return your evil on your own head. But sovereign Solomon is blessed, and the throne of David is established before Yah forever. So the sovereign commanded Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, and he went out and fell on him, and he died. And the reign was established in the hand of Solomon.